today in our business coaching, I really want you guys to take notes today because I think this is what's been helping. And I think you guys are starting to understand that real estate is not one of those things where it's really, really transactional. It's like you really got to build that relationship with the individual for them to trust you and then make the really good decisions, right? So let's talk about creating customer relationships. And that's what I want you guys to write down. Like, you guys are here to create customer relationships. I also don't want you guys to have the mindset where you fold so much to people's methods that you're constantly just out building relationships and you're never closing deals. Because that happens. There's people that build relationships and they're always the advisor, but they're never closing the deal. So I'm going to teach you guys how to properly do that so that you can excel in a business that's here to reward you gratefully. To keep business relationships strong, you must do everything that you can in your power to engage them. Tell me why my client had a baby a day ago and I can't go to sleep thinking about the fact that I got to go buy them a baby gift. Why do I have to do that? Because I need to constantly engage my customer. That little baby is going to turn 6 months old one of these days. They're going to take the little baby out. The little baby's going to have the little baby outfit that I purchased for the little baby. And somebody's going to say, that's a very cute baby outfit. What do you think the parents are going to respond?
My realtor.
My realtor got me this baby outfit. No way. My shitty realtor never gets me anything. Why does that happen? You know why? Because I'm constantly thinking about engaging my client. It doesn't even have to do with the baby. I'm just giving you a live example. But really, do you guys think that it's worth my $65 investment to get 2, 3, 4 deals out of that? Yeah, and I might not get something. But remember, my beliefs, my basics, and my fundamentals are that it is better to give. Am I expecting to receive? Absolutely. But it's better to give. And if I don't get anything, hey, at least I learned about baby clothing. But I want to give you guys 5 ways to build customer relationships and then keep them coming back. You need to keep them coming back every single time. You know why? Because the ultimate goal is for you guys to be 10 years in the real estate industry. And you do the simple math, 10 years. If you get 25% return customers and you're closing about 20 deals a year consistently, what's 25% of 20 deals? Come on, guys, it's simple math. You guys are all in real estate. 5 deals. Do 5 times 10 on an average. Hey, I'll take 50 grand just from sitting back every single year. And just imagine if the next year you do 30 deals, what's 25% of that? And let's say the next year you do 40 deals. This is something that's systematical, but people don't pay attention to it because we're too busy. We want to make the money now. So number 1, communication is key. Communicate. You need to communicate all the time. The biggest problems that I'm having right now in my current transactions are because at one point in time, I've had crappy communication with a customer. That is unacceptable. I need to make sure that I'm communicating negative and positive news all of the time. So when it goes down to communication, as key to any good relationship, communication is an essential way to build a relationship. Why do you guys communicate? You guys are communicating because you guys are promoting your business, and listening to your customers is equally important as calling them all the time. Some of these people are going to call you and you're right in the middle of the transaction. And let's just say that it's like you don't call the customer because you don't want to communicate with them and there's some type of barrier. And in that communication phone call that you were supposed to make, their family member had a very, very big need for something in real estate. And since you weren't communicating, they went to the next realtor, and the next realtor, his name is Abraham. Abraham was following up and prospecting, doing something you should have been doing. Do you understand why communication is so important in this process? And eventually the customer relies on you so much that you are that person that they always refer for the rest of their life. And you know what? Some of these people might have a little cost to their relationship. Like I've explained, some of these people want a couple $100 per deal. Hey, would you guys give up $500 for $6,000? Yes. I'll give up $3,000 for $6,000. Does that make any sense? Because I'm already yielding some type of return. And I'll teach you guys about cost per acquisition later on once we start to graduate into that. But I want you guys to write down number 2, exceed your customers' expectations. What do you mean by exceeding customers' expectations? Remember we talked about sometimes we're doing stuff that we're not getting paid for? Don't you guys hate doing that? I hate doing stuff that I don't get paid for. But guess what? I need to do stuff that I don't get paid for because I need to exceed the customer's expectations. They're not paying me to do that. They're not paying me to do that. Well, guess what? The next guy does not care to not get paid. Matter of fact, the next guy cares so little about not getting paid, that he's probably going to give back half of his commission. Do you understand how important it is for you guys to communicate, to exceed the expectations? Your customers expect great products or services from you. You should continue to raise the bar on the property that you guys are offering. Why am I saying this? Is because 90% of the time, and trust me, I'm not trying to get you guys to show property to a client that doesn't qualify for $1 million. But what I've learned is that if they don't qualify for $1 million and they're gonna buy for $1 million, guess what they're gonna do?
I'll give more down payment.
Give more down payment.
Get a cosigner.
Get a cosigner. Get frustrated and drop you if you're not showing them what they want and go with another agent. I hate when I go back to a client and I've shut them down and I didn't give them extra options, because then they're like, oh man, he doesn't want me to buy a house. Like yesterday, I saw 2 of our sales reps. I was supposed to be there, but they handled it. When you guys went to a customer that his buying window is probably now, but he wants to buy in the next few months. Does that make any sense? How you guys are exceeding the expectations? Because I would be thinking to myself, shit, I don't qualify. What are they doing in my house? What are they still here doing in my house? They're trying to figure out, which builds a commitment, which secures a paycheck 6 months from now. Nobody sees it like that because they're thinking about right now. But 6 months from now, that's going to be the easiest deal to close. So you guys need to start to look at what the customer is expecting, and sometimes it's not right there and then. So let me give you an example of what David's doing, just because I like to talk about what live deals are happening. Is we have an issue with the IRS. David, are you getting paid for calling the IRS? Are you getting paid for doing those type of negotiations?
No.
You're not, right? But are you exceeding the customer's expectations?
I would say so.
Are you going to get rewarded?
Yeah.
Absolutely. How?
By closing the escrow.
By closing the escrow and doing your job. That's as easy as it gets. Number 3, you need to ask for feedback. The customer wants to give you feedback. I ask for feedback all the time, and they give me the feedback. During the process of dealing with a customer, Mr. Jose, what do you need to see from me so that we could sign this contract? Does that make any sense? That's asking for feedback. Sometimes we think that feedback is like, am I doing a good or bad job? No, that's not feedback. I mean, it is feedback, but what I'm saying is that there's different ways of saying it. So I wrote down a very, very quick note. When customers have a good or bad opinion about your business, they will make their feelings known. So I rather ask and invite the customer to give me the feedback. That way it's not one of those things where, David, you're not doing your job, this and that. It changes the dynamic of when a customer is complaining versus like, hey, David, can you please give me some feedback on how I'm doing? You'll even take the approach a little differently versus the, oh man. And then the typical real estate or salesperson will start to ghost the client because they already know they're unhappy with their service. You can automatically find out if you're gonna lose a deal or not. Like I'll tell a customer, hey, when I feel I'm a little off, I'm like, can you give me some feedback on how I've been performing? Automatically, they're like, yeah, you did such a good job. I love everything about you. But, and then they'll break it all down. And I'm like, this has been an issue a very long time, but I'm not paying any attention. And they're just moving forward. And then we get to the closing table, and guess what? I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. So that's why I continuously ask, please request feedback, even from your leads. Yes, David.
Yeah, I actually got feedback the other week for an escrow, the one I was just talking to you about this morning. And he said, you know what, David, we started off so strong. We got the property in escrow less than a week. And now, because the buyer's agent, I didn't really explain to him, the buyer's agent is not keeping up there and kind of dropping the ball.
Right.
He was like, what's going on now? Like, and what I realized was, you know what, I should be calling him every single day and giving an update because that's what he really wants. And now that I've been calling up and following up every single day, whether I have no news or I don't, or I do, and or it's bad news, whatever it is, he's happy now. Like, okay, thank you. Now I see you're on top of it. And once we sell this one, I got the other listing for you ready too. So it's just, I listened to him, I did it, and now it's resulting in another one.
And you know what? Some of these clients, it's all about them. That's just the reality of stuff. Like, I have clients that it's like, Jesse, call me, tell me that the update, there is no update. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like, you want to update that there's no update? But that's what the customer wants. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it demands. So that's why the feedback, I would say, feedback week 1, feedback week 2, feedback week 3, feedback week 4. During that feedback period, they're gonna tell you that something that they don't understand. One of the common ones is, hey, can you give me some feedback on your appraisal report? What did you feel about that? Well, I think it's so stupid that the appraiser appraised it for what I'm buying it. Like, did he really just have to appraise it? And I'm like, are you serious? Does that make any sense to you guys? To the consumer, they're thinking that the appraiser is in cahoots with you because it's so random that they appraised it. So as a feedback, I asked the customer, what were you uncomfortable with? I'm not comfortable with the fact that the appraised value came in at the sales price. I'm like, what were your expectations? Well, I thought it should come out more or less. I'm like, I'm not certified for having to do appraisers, and I'm a broker. Like, where do you come up with this? Yes.
Going back to his situation, when the other agent was not fulfilling his end of the bargain, the notice to take act, what was that?
Notice to perform.
Notice to perform.
Which I did.
And how much time did you allow pass before you?
So I gave him a notice to perform, and I gave him, I think it was like 5 days. Then after that, I gave a demand to close escrow, and that's actually due tomorrow.
One thing that I want to mention, and that's a great point, the notice to perform is very important. To me, it's a slap in the face, but look, when you ask customer for feedback, they will let their feelings known to you. They'll let you know. So I rather you get the customer feedback now, and if parting ways it's what's necessary, then you do that, versus having that drag on like, this is a bad apple, and I've already done a very bad job. Sometimes it's better to just fire the customer there, because they'll drag you the whole time. They already know your weakness. So number 4, connect. And you know what's interesting? Number 1 is communicate. Why is number 4 connect? Because there's a difference between the actual communication of what you're telling, and then there's a difference between really connecting with a client. David, what are your really needs? Your needs, what are really your needs? Let's connect about this. You know what I'm saying? And I see you guys do it all the time where it's like, hey, Jesse, we met with the customer, but I connected with them on the back end. This is the inside scoop. Isn't that funny how that always happens? I always see it like it's a big old cheese man all the time. Like, oh man.
There's always a story.
Yeah, there's always a story. So that's why I'm like, okay, Jesse, you're already excessively communicated. Now, how do you connect? How do you really connect? What do we do? Take them gifts. That tequila bottle with Mr. Serafin, it's just that's gonna go. That's a 10-year relationship on a $60 spend. Tell me if that's worth it. You divide it. I spend what, 60 cents a year, and this guy for the next 10 years, he's gonna be committed to the process, guaranteed. But connecting is such an important part of it, and this is what I'm talking about, making a connection. Social media. Remember yesterday I talked to you guys about you're on social media and you guys, we just lurk, and is that what the word lurk? You're just watching people and you're not liking anything. Is that the long-time listener, first-time caller type of approach? You know what I'm talking about? You're always listening, but you never ever make the phone call. Well, in social media, for you guys to connect, oh, my kid, happy birthday to my kid. You are trying to really, really be in that buying window and connect with the customer. How difficult is it for you to put happy birthday to your baby? She's beautiful, or he's beautiful. You know why we don't do that? Because we're not thinking about the connection that the customer requires. There's 10 other of you guys that are actually prepared to do the job as equal, not better, because you guys are really good, but prepared to do the job for a lower amount. You know what I mean? It's like that case of you get somebody and you're bidding for some type of job, and tell me why the guy that charges the cheapest always wins. You know why? Because nobody else presented a very, very good value, and nobody really connected with the individual. Vanessa and I have been in that situation. There was an agent that we competed against, and this guy, he applied about like 1 million units per year or whatnot. And you know what he lacked? This is what the customer, we asked for feedback, and we said, well, how come you're not going with him? She said, we didn't connect with him. He didn't ask what we wanted. He just said, blah, 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 blah. So you guys understand why the connection to the individual is so, sometimes the connection needs to be so intense that you get a lead that said, Jesse, I'm gonna show up at 2 p.m. with all my documents to get pre-qualified. And then they don't show up. You know what the issue is? It's not communication, it's just that they don't feel a connection to you. They just don't feel that, you know, like, they don't feel that they owe you the respect to show up to the appointment. So what do you have to do? You have to build that. And instead of saying, they didn't show up, it's a crappy client. No, I need to find a way to execute option number 4 and connect with my customer. So then when they don't show up, yes, Abraham, go for it. I'm excited to hear you guys' feedback.
I was gonna say, I have Lynette, the one that we have an appointment with, she avoided me for a while. I called her, I texted her, and then I called her through KB Corp, but it's a different number. And she answered, and she's like felt embarrassed because, you know what I mean? Like they're
trying to ghost you, yeah.
Gotcha, you know what I mean? So she's like, you know what? I spoke to my husband, and they confirmed for 1 o'clock on Saturday.
Perfect.
So
let's give them a round of applause. That's the only way to do it. You connected and you use technology. Believe it or not, because the clients always ghost you. That's why I believe in text messaging. Anyway, the last one is show appreciation. You know, I show appreciation so much, and people are like, you're so sarcastic about your appreciation. I am constantly reminding anybody in the service industry or customers, hey, thank you so much, Alex, for taking the time to actually meet with me. I know you're a very busy individual. I know things are always very backed up for you, but I really appreciate what you're doing for me. The guy installing my flooring in my house, doing the flooring, everything's good. I'm paying a very good premium, but tell me why I'm constantly showing appreciation. Hey, thank you so much, man. You're showing up, and I know you're doing your job and everything. You know why I do that? Because he's a potential customer too. The last thing I want is for people to think that they're dealing with some type of arrogant guy that they can't trust to pick up the phone and be like, hey, we did your floors, but some of those guys were so impressed with how appreciative you were of their job. They've been working hard for years. Because remember, people that are buying homes from you have been saving for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. These guys have been saving for a long time. They're so surprised of how appreciative you are of their work. They all want to buy. Are you okay to represent them? What do you think I'm going to say? Do you know what I mean? That's why appreciation is such an important part. And I'll read you guys the last notes that I took last night. You guys need to reward longtime customers with some type of program where you could reward them. For example, I have this gentleman, you're probably going to watch it online, but thank you so much. You always send me customers. His name is Enrique. And this guy, every customer, every opportunity he gets, he sends me a client. Tell me why I show more appreciation for him than I even show for the customer. And I'm still appreciative of the customer, don't get me wrong, but you know why I show a lot of appreciation towards him? Because he's helping me build my business. So what do? I reward him and I incentivize him every single time. And he's not asking for it. He's not like, hey, Jesse, give me $200, $300. He's not doing that. He's just like, here's a customer, but he knows what's coming. So you guys need to set some type of reward program or system so that the customer is really, really appreciated. And they're like, hey, you know that guy that's giving you a bunch of leads, David? Put in a reward system for him, and I guarantee that he'll double those leads.
I wasn't sure what to give him. Are you saying like,
have you seen the succulents that are around the office that are there? Like you could go into the GP Connect and you'll see the succulents. People love those. Those are $60. You want them delivered, 15. With 60 plus 15, you've seen me give them away. These clients are like, oh my God, he gave me a succulent, and I'm like, yeah, because it's really, really in, and you need to make sure you're putting these rewards. But I would give them that, or I would give them a American Express gift card, $100, 150. But it needs to be something that's consistent, because then if you're not consistent with that, they're going to be like, oh, I hooked you up with that other client because they got their little pipeline too. You know what I mean? These guys are building their pipeline. To some people, $500 is $500. Like you tell me, hey, Jesse, you know, continue to keep the clients coming. I'll give you 200. I'm not working for you, David. I'm literally looking for customers. But you know what the problem? You know why we don't do that? Because we are so caught up into like every penny in the pocket that we're not thinking that the acquisition of these leads actually costs money. I talk to some of these top producers that I mastermind, that I call sometimes just to get just to answer questions for me. And you know what their marketing spend is? $700,000 a year. And we're over here. We don't want to give a client $100 plant because we're too caught up on the. Do you know what I'm saying? The marketing spend is like Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Fendi. How do you think they get in front of your face? You think just because they're cool? You think you get it just because they're cool? No, these guys are spending millions and millions of dollars on marketing to you. Think about your customer appreciation program as a marketing tool for yourself. So if you guys want to track properly what customers are yielding you a better return, David, in your case, in my case, create a hashtag behind the customer and the reward program. Does that make any sense? Create some type of hashtag. Like, and I'll give you an example. I have this gentleman that we represented, and he keeps pushing. He wants to go have seafood. He wants to do mariscos. I'm going to take the time out of my busy schedule to go and sit with him and have those mariscos. You know why I'm going to do it? Because that $100 food bill is going to probably yield a $20,000, $30,000 return. Nobody thinks about it because they're like, this money I have to spend. I have to spend all this money. Guys, to make money, you're going to have to spend money. But I'm just advising you to do it this way so you could have a little bit of fun. I don't know as Juan is going to that mariscos place and it's like, wow, this is very calculated, $100, here it is. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, yeah, like, here's the $100, don't forget about this. Like, I'm scratching your back, you're gonna scratch mine. No, you have to enjoy your time, enjoy what you're doing, have a great time, but always slip that in there. Hey, remember, if you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell, I'm your guy. Like, you know what I mean? You want to continue to have these nice, expensive $300 marisco trips, keep those clients coming because we could keep doing this, you know what I mean? So what I'm suggesting is reward yourself and reward the customer and appreciate that. But start to use the appreciation. Here's what I'll wrap up with, because we've been talking a lot about auto suggestions and we'll do our affirmations right now, Abraham. So let's get prepared. But let's start to auto suggest and let's start to prepare to really be thankful for the environment that we are in. Yesterday, as I started to think at 1:36 about all the negative stuff, I'm like, I am laying in a very, 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 very good mattress right now. There's people that are not laying on this very nice mattress. I have the AC at 72 in the middle of the night. There's people that don't have that luxury. So I think we should start off by auto-suggesting thankfulness. You guys think your situation is shitty? There's people that are way worse out there. And there's always going to be better than you. That's just the reality. So stop comparing and start just showing appreciation. The earth will reward you by just waking up in infinite thought and saying, I'm thankful. I'm not trying to coach you guys to be thankful with God or Allah or Buddha or whatever it is. I'm just telling you, just be thankful in general that you get up, you wake up, and your car is waiting for you to jump in your very nice vehicle to get to your very nice air-conditioned office. You guys are not taking the bus anywhere. You're not walking 30 minutes to go to that bus stop, and then from that bus stop here, and then you got to figure out lunch and all that stuff. So can you guys agree with me? Let's be appreciative of the current situation that we're in. And I see you guys putting in the work. You guys are doing a great job. I guarantee you guys, if you guys keep pushing this throughout the, isn't it strange that we have 18 open escrows? And look how, like, there's very few of us. You know what I mean? That's a lot. And if you're not in escrow, trust me, you will be in escrow very, very soon because there's so many of them. Does that make any sense? So you guys just need to stay and look, when people are looking at the escrow, they're like, how are you doing this? It's like, if you see what I did 6 months ago to really like work every single day, I'm like, damn, I did so much work that I was really exhausted, but I'm already thinking about next month and I'm like, let's get paid. Does that make sense? So anyway, let's do our affirmation so we can get to work.